I'd like to call the State City School Board of Education regular board meeting on October 23rd. It is now 5:15. Please stand to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Next item on the agenda is roll call.
Board Member David Brown. Present. Board Member David Cordova. Board Secretary Dr. John Zuber. Present. Board Vice President Paul Gonzalez. Present. Board President Michael Buchanan.
Present. Your quorum. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for today's regular board meeting.
Did you have something to assemble amongst those?
Yes. Item, I believe it says item E, academic coverage policy. Immediately after, letter A, Robertson High School tomorrow school fire watch. If you have a game this evening for administrators here.
The opposition to it? I would like to make a motion that we approve the agenda presented with that minor change to E right after A to be the new item of B. Have a motion by a second. Have a second by Mr. Gonzalez. Have a motion by myself and have a second by Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Mr. Romero, opposed to that? Motion still passes. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes of item A, September 18, 2025, regular board meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for the September 18th regular board meeting.
A motion by Mr. Gonzalez, do I have a second? A second by Dr. Maduro, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item B, October 9, 2025, special board meeting minutes. A motion to approve.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Gonzalez. A second.
Second.
A second by Dr. Maduro. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public input. I have one individual, Mr. Romero.
Yes, I just have two questions. On the sample ball that I got, what does a teacher housing? That was not in there somehow. What is teacher housing?
This is for the bond. And we're not, on public input, Mr. Romero, we're not supposed to engage on, the chair is able to, engage on only the chair on public input. But I would defer this, the board is okay with this, for this question, to Ms. Dunn.
Mr. Romero, the question is a standard question, with regards to housing. So that is a language, I guess, the New Mexico when it goes out for election. At this point in time, the district, does not have any intention to build any type of teacher housing, but it is language that is embedded into the common language it's put in for all geo bond elections.
So it's not something that we're gonna actually do, it's something that the state, puts in for standard wording for a geo bond. But we have no intentions, the board has no intentions of doing it, we haven't discussed anything about doing anything else, that we don't need it. There's some districts that do need it done.
Oh, I was wondering if there was no,
Yeah.
they want people to pass money to build a house.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, my other one was, at the home, they asked, you, Mike, and you responded, you remember the question was, but you responded, students have to realize that if they do something wrong, there's consequences. Again, 2 years ago, you know what happened at your house? The daughter was caught breaking the rules, nothing was done. This last couple of weeks ago, football players, and they were suspended for 2 games, they lost 2 games. I mean, where is the consequence? Where is it equal? Is it just for board members? Not and some. Same thing with David Porto, some You got caught with liquor on the campus, nothing was done. I don't understand that.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Is that all you have?
That's it.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is finance report.
Finance committee met on Tuesday, October 21st, 2025. Discussed September 2025 financial report for the general and student entity account for review as follows. The operating and activity based reports and checklists. Operating revenue and expenditure reports and funds. Purchase orders issued. Payroll journal reports, fund balance report, but collateral report. And the budget adjustment requests include initial bar 069252606 for 100,000. And initial bar 06925260007 for 100,000. The recommendation by the committee is to approve the financial reports for September 2025 and the budget adjustment requests.
Mr. Chairman, may I add the financial report?
Sure.
I just want to acknowledge part of it, the finance report that was not part of that entire packet. But we've also discussed was a request that again that we had last year to include athletic revenue. So what we have at the top is total revenue. We were looking at this report through the GO band, other indicate concession band. The rest is our revenue for ticket sales. So if we look at the very bottom, total gate sales at this point is $41,012. And what I'll do over the course of the school year in finances are important for us to track, of course, is that to date, the district has generated 52% of the revenue that we did for the entire year last year. Last year, total revenue for gate sales was $78,732. Again, what I want to highlight to date of October, we have made $41,012. Total concession sales is $20,005. Last year's revenue was $59,044. Making revenue to date, generating 34% of what we earned last school year. So again, we want to commend Mr. Gonzalez and his team for this work. But again, I think what I want to highlight is that the change in moving and being, I don't want to say progressive because this is done throughout the state. But again, this change is yielding high results for our district. So thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, and to the team. I did have an opportunity to work and be humbled by the amount of work that our concession stand workers on the game. My team, Ms. Garcia, Ms. Martinez, Dr. Reddy, a couple of board members, up to that, the concession stand. So it is a lot of work. Thank you for your team.
Motion to put down with your recommendation on the bars, the two bars.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I recommend the approval of the two bars as presented this evening.
On our recommendation, I make a motion that we approve bar number 6.
Motion by Mr. Gonzalez. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, the document Dirk. On favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Aye. Motion carries. Next item is presentation. We have no presentations.
Yeah.
Next item is old business. There's no business. Next item will be new business. Item A, Robertson High School and Morning School Fireworks.
Mr. Chair, members, last week we had an unannounced visit from the fire marshal at Memorial Middle School in Robertson High School. over the course of last school year, I have been reporting on the status of the fire, the project that started a couple of years ago, about 8.5 years ago, that remains incomplete. At that point in time, fire marshals required, that our middle school and our high school run, the fire drill, which was done. I did meet with, fire marshals, there were two of them, with Mr. Beta and, Mr. Vasquez. The reports that we received at that point in time was one, to highlight that both our middle school and high school students and staff did an exceptional job in evacuating the building. They said that they typically don't see that type of a response. So again, I want to acknowledge our staff, our students, and our administration for that good work. However, because the fire panel that is incomplete is obviously not functional. And because the panel of the alarm system that we have, where it is functional, it has several deficits. And they did highlight several of those components that, of course, are out of compliance. So they did fire watch immediately. So what we have done is we have maintenance personnel who is running fire watch both at middle school, high school, and of course our gymnasium. Over the course of the occupied time, we also have to run fire watch during our games at our gym. So that will continue to occur until the fire panel is complete. I have already, again, spoken once again to PSFA with regards to this issue. I spoke today, the battalion commanders for fire marshal's office. We spoke earlier this afternoon. He will be drafting a letter on behalf of the district to PSFA and the Public School Capital Valley Commission to declare the urgency of our review project to help us get that project complete. Where it stands, there was several issues over the course of 2 years ago. It began before I came on board, but there were issues with payments to Summit. And there was a back and forth between PSFA, our school district, and the contractor. I want to say that probably about April, May, we began to resolve and identify what that issue was. Where the issue sits right now, because the project was delayed for so long. The funding that was available at the time that the district had received and that was appropriated by PSFA has expired. So what PSFA is having to do is go back to the Capital Outlay Commission and request for additional funds to complete the project. What we have been told is that there is emergency funding outside of the, I guess, what would be called the typical cycle. So that is what the battalion commander is hoping to help us out with, to try to get PSFA to get the funding so that they can support their side. I am happy to say that the district is then paid up to the portion that we owed on the project that is, up to the point where it's completed. But there's still work first to be. So again, I just want to let you all know that we are on fire watch. We do have someone who's running that. And we are required to submit a weekly report from Friday with all of the data that is. Is that for questions? If you have any?
So just to recap, there was a lot of information. So this project's been going on 2.5 years.
Approximately, I don't know exactly when it started. It was I just that's that question. I do recall, but it has been a significant amount of time. I would say at least 3 years or something, because when I came in July, The issues, according to what I understood from the former, interim superintendent at the time, was that, all work to occur, in that March.
So did the fire marshal give us a deadline as to when we have to do this profile?
I have to submit a report within 30 days, but they have not given us a timeline. What they did let me know is that they would continue to work with us and keep us in fire watch. They were not looking at, closing the school. They understand the issue that was for us.
And does this have any, this have, just Robert, when I come on, so does that have to do with administration? This is something that,
No, sir.
and is this something that they're going to discuss about? Not
I was-
Okay. Sounds good. There's no other quick questions from the Senate. Next item on the agenda is item, the new item B would be academic eligibility policy first reading. So,
Yes, Mr. Chair, I was asked to provide a draft policy for the academic eligibility, something that would be perhaps a little bit more stringent than the NMAA policy. So in your packets, I do have the draft policy and of course the NMAA standards. What I have put in there as the discussion points and as a draft is that during progress reports, which is already that we do every 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks. All schools release the progress reports you can. That at that point, an eligibility list would be reviewed by Mr. Gonzalez. And students who do not meet the 2.0 would be placed on what I'll say probation until they brought their grades up. And that would on it is on the work. Yeah.
You know, they have to, because I don't have that. They're gonna be all work also, you know, pay to get for. I mean. No, I'm not. I see them.
So it's up on the screen. And if we scroll down, again, what's up on top is the NAA eligibility requirement that exists right now in our athletic co-curricular handbook. I left it on there just as reference points. What I added, scroll down to the bottom. Is language that indicates that eligibility would be based on progress reports, quarterly grades, which again would be for the 4th 90 period, or I'm sorry, the 4th week. And the 9th week for the quarterly grade, and then again, it's successive the 4 weeks of that second quarter. And what I have, and again, this is all in draft, is that a student would be placed on academic restriction for practice and play, and so they brought their grade up beyond the 60%. They at that point, if they fell below the eligibility requirements, they would be required to submit to our athletic coordinator an academic plan that is signed by the teacher and the students, showing that the student has the 60% or higher requirements that this would have. The eligibility recorded by grades and incomplete. NMAA has a standard of 7 days. What I did was I shifted this one to 5 days, just so it would give teachers an opportunity at least a couple of days to grade any work that would result on that incomplete. And then make, of course, that determination where the student has met the 2.0 to 60% of what required. So, but again, this is in draft, can change in any way. But again, this is a little stricter than what the NMA standards,
So just to clarify, so NMA has a standard and which we have that policy obviously is by semester, correct?
Right.
So they have to have a 2.0 or higher by semester. So this is just above that standard. Because right now we do not have anything in place on the policy that states the project report. So why do we do project reports before this? What? So there's no reason for teachers or athletic directors to do project reports if there is no policy in place to report them. Project report.
well, if you put it in district policy, what it does is it means, what's basically the responsibility, the ownership on the board, it's our job to implement policy and ensure that the protocols within the handbook, and from this, of course, it would be there would be procedures. But the important, in my opinion, of policy such as this and the report in general is to mitigate behavior. So, you know, the goal would be that for any student athletes, for any student who is on curricular activity, that these are being watched more closely, so that when that semester break comes up, when that night break comes up, they remain eligible for play for the entire year rather than playing ineligibility, if you will, if that's a word, for an entire semester until grades are.
What is this as a result? I know our graduation rate, according to PP's website, our graduation rate is 69%. What is this in turn help to increase some of our graduation rate, like that kids that maybe need help and some tutoring, help them graduate?
Absolutely. Again, it mitigates failures at the high school level. It mitigates students from having to lose credit for graduation. When I did this on here, I believe we do have an after-school program and have had an after-school program. It does indicate on there that students during their academic probation should be working with the classroom teacher and or attending after-school tutoring, the after-school programming to help them bring their grades up that much quicker. You know, of course, we have certified staff that support that program. So it brings up our graduation rate. I believe like my students being held more accountable. It increases their proficiency, so it raises their literacy, or the literacy rates or math rates. But most importantly, their depth of knowledge. What it does do also is it holds our teachers or ensure that grades are posted timely fashion. You know, one of our policies that we do have is that 2 grades per week should be posted. So that is something that our principals are working on and ensuring, you know, trying to ensure that our teachers are doing their due diligence also in posting grades
So I know I've heard it from several students is that sometimes the teacher hasn't posted grades yet and for whatever reason. And they might have a low grade, whatever it is, below 60 and they would be eligible if they were posting grades, not the case that you're getting to, so the principal. And then what's your staff, they talk to your staff from both Mr. Vasquez, Mr. Trujillo, and Mr. Gonzalez, athletic coordinator, to see if this is something that would work.
While they're here with us this evening, so I would defer that question to them if they're willing to speak to that and see if they see any maybe hindrances and roadblocks or something that can be.
Mr. Vasquez was excited to go first, so.
Mr. President, members of the board, yeah, so what happened with, coming from, another state and the accountability, we did it every 9 weeks, so we wanted to be a little bit progressive, but you can't just come in and just lay it down, you have to be in stages to give them an opportunity to be able to understand the system, the way it works, so These kind of steps are, I think, in a good direction, and it does help as far as accountability. That's our job as principals to hold our teachers accountable. You know, of course, we need to be better with that, but it also gives the ability to some kids to regain eligibility sooner than before. If we have a certain block, so for example, if as a district, we decided to go at 6 weeks, our kids would be eligible sooner than the 9-week period. So that would help as well for eligibility to get kids who fail that semester, to enter in, and it's a 2.0 NOAS, so they can't have that, and then your juniors and seniors could accumulate, to become eligible as well, so you'll be able to have that ability with that, and we could build that in there too. But I just think as far as the accountability of the direction that the board wants to go, I think we gotta take small steps to get there instead of, you know, a little bit of larger steps right away. Gotta be progressive, as we go. Do you have any questions?
When are we gonna start this with, like, can we freshman class now, what are we doing?
I think that we did right for the board, that we adopt, and the policy is actually adopted, or version of the policy. I think if it's done this year, we can do it in the second semester, not in the middle of the semester. So I think I would think the direction of the board is to bring you want it to be.
We have issues right now with, any, students that are possibly struggling that are actively playing sports or career therapy.
I do not think that has really have to be for that semester at all.
President, there's
Yes, we had just very few, but I just got a text message from our football coach, and he wanted me to share this information, guys. He's one of the coaches that checks progress reports like every 2 weeks, right? So the coaches, it varies weekly, every 2 weeks, some of them do it, once every 4 weeks, but they're in place, and Coach Sanchez just sent me a text, and he wanted to express that this is the first year that he's seen 20 kids with good grades on the football team, so it's working. His progress reports and keeping that higher standard, and that expectation from our coaches, from our administrative staff. The word's getting out there, the kids are listening, and they're wanting to do better. I think us holding this higher standard, again, you gotta remember that it's academics first, right? Athletics comes second. It's not a right, it's a privilege, and it's people to understand that we're trying to create better paths for them in the future. Very few kids go on to the next level, but we hope that we can get them on the right path to great careers and different things like that. So implementing these steps, I think it's the right step to go with the district. However, I think like Mr. Vasquez said, I think we need to make it in stride. We can't implement everything part for right away. I would like to see this, we made this comment a minute ago about maybe the beginning of next school year. And put this information out there and share it with all the kids and let them know that these are gonna be the new standards, right? I think that will even entice kids from other districts to come here. Parents seeing that we're holding standards higher and we're expecting more from these kids and holding them accountable when they make mistakes, right? Of course, we don't want to derail the kids and make them, because I understand too, all of that keep going up. Sometimes you come to school just for sports or extracurricular activities, but we also want to educate them. So, we gotta find that balance, and I think it's fair that if we give it some time and implement this by beginning next school year, I think that's fair.
Mr. Gonzalez, first, for you, one time, you have some, in and out of the area, when you had some, they at least one game, of these stories. True.
Well, technically, they would be eligible because we're right now with NCAA standards, which they would be, so they were eligible for us.
Not my.
Mr. President, it's not as presented, like, on this draft, it says it's two and a half, so this be implemented, all over here.
Yes.
And we're gonna be giving them a pathway to get us some kind of tutoring or something, because we're telling the kids that they're ineligible and no longer part of of a team, can't go to practice and be there with their team. We're just gonna send them home. Some of these kids don't have the ability to get the help at home. That are we gonna give them an opportunity that maybe instead of practice, that time slot that we have of personnel to be there to maybe help them get eligible, maybe they aren't getting the help.
Necessary, because we do have the student already in place. So part of the procedures, will, or part of perhaps the co-curricular handbook would indicate in regards to, that kind of lays out the policy would indicate that students who are eligible would be required to be the tutor. So we put the details of how that would work in the student handbook or the co-curricular handbook.
So, Madam Superintendent, one of the first steps that should happen with kids too, is you've got to go to the teacher. What do I need to do? To bring my grade instead of just,
And unfortunately, some students just don't go or they won't know, that's what it's probably supposed to help them know if they are eligible.
There's accountability on everybody's side. Student, teachers, administration, all of us, make sure that we have an expectation that we as adults are also doing our job to make sure that students are being, and that we're timely in the information that grades, grades that we're giving students.
Is this something that you want us to vote on this evening?
Not this evening, I just wanted you all to review it, have any recommendations that we were thinking Mr. Gonzalez to, find out. If you have any recommendations at the moment, take those notes, please, email me.
I think at the moment we have to gradually bring it in and maybe at the earliest next year, affecting all classes next year. Give me a curious.
Any other comments? Thank you. Next on the agenda would be item C. Cops Office School Violence Prevention Program, DOJ grant, $489,420. Ms. Seminole.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I am happy to announce, that, this is another grant that we have received, on behalf of the district for safety and security. It is a grant, it is a direct federal grant from the Department of Justice for $489,422. I'll let Mr. Salas talk, some details with regards to what this would support. But I do also want to inform you that with all, well, I shouldn't say all, but with direct federal grants, there's always a matching component. So the 489,000 plus is 75% of the work that we would be doing. So the district match for the entire project is $163,147. So after Mr. Rosales presents to you the information with regards to what we're looking at doing with this money, it will be approval to provide that much.
This is September, the board line of security and. As you guys know, we have activated a disparate access control systems, our camera systems are X-ray, and both of these systems are incredibly hard. We get a new member, a new person to our biggest school, we have to touch. Well, systems just to bring them online to be able to give them access to the district. There's access control systems that are consistently failing, which is we've done quite a bit here to try to bring these up to speed, but again, they're disparate systems and they're both of them are in the state of obsolescence. So what we do is to allow to bring these systems up to it would allow us to augment our existing cameras, not only here in the building, but in all the schools maintenance operations, transportation. And it would, supplement our security team with, new walkie-talkies and, allow us to do, sensitivity detectors, that which would allow us to hopefully detect if people are vaping or communicating or if there's any issues, in noise detection, so, they're really good, the top is really good at detecting anything that's sort of not right in a particular place, most bathrooms, gymnasiums, the, the number of things like this that's gonna really help open the community.
Thank you.
Good question.
Doing the work. Thank you.
This is just one more grant
This is a 3-year grant.
for 489,000 total, 489,000 free.
Total. So, Mr. Chair, members of the board, I am asking, for approval, to accept this grant, with the understanding that the district's portion, to meet our obligation is $163,147, which we would, likely utilize, GEO bond funds, to support this.
This is
Superintendent, we have that on the geo bonds, everything.
I'm sorry.
Do we have it on the geo bonds?
This is part of creating infrastructure, so it's kind of like that language, that standard language is all embedded in it.
No. Do we have the money right now on the bonds we have, or
We do have cash. Or like, we have funds.
upon that recommendation, I make a motion that we approve the COPS Office School Violence Prevention Program DOJ grant of 489,422. Do I have a second?
second?
A second by Mr. Gonzalez, on favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item on the agenda is item D, transfer of FFA activity fund 23919, instructional services, $641,641.09. The Sanborn received a few calls on this item, and I'm not sure if you can let the board know what this is for.
Yes, and first, I would like to apologize to the board, because I believe, this has kind of spiraled, into, perhaps maybe a bigger event than I anticipated. I putting it on the agenda because I have, if you have read, the optic, and I have been talking, about a career technical building and having some funds available, to support such work. So because this is our avenue to have discussion, it was, I placed it on the agenda, to give you my thoughts behind, the why I would be recommending or considering, the proposal for, the transfer. And, you know, like, to you, Mr. Quintana, I know that there's some connection, to this, so, you know, again, I want to apologize for the escalation of this, but, what I want to talk a little bit about, the mindset of where I'm coming from is, and I'll use the analogy that I've been using recently about beating the horse, right? Beating that dead horse. I believe there's a sense of urgency in our district, to capitalize on, work, grant funding, state funding, federal funding, as we're doing in order to support, the improvements of our district. As I mentioned before, our district has lost, about 700 students in the last 2 years. 35% of our enrollment has increased. Thus, obviously, our revenue. One of the asks that you all gave me when I started in this role was, how do we improve our enrollment? How do we improve our program? So what you just heard was, what we do, if we look for funds to improve the district, to improve, programs, to improve facilities. And what I have been doing as I've been tracking budget, working with Ms. Gonzalez, formerly Ms. Hillis, is where do we have revenue that utilize, what can we tap into to support programming? And over the last year and to present, there is a fund for number 23919. The FFA activity fund is how I believe it's classified, has not been touched. And when I'm looking at improvements and providing a more robust and engaging curriculum for our students, my mindset has been that we utilize these funds to support the agricultural component that we have in the program. It's already a very strong program. It's who is here with us this evening. So my mindset for this and perhaps proposal down the road, you know, as we approach, would be to utilize all or some of these funds to support the development of the agricultural program, which directly supports FFA. I'll be sharing with you all a little bit about my mindset with regards to the idea of what that could potentially look like. But I think it's something that's urgent that we to look at. You know, when I do right now, I'm planning for 2-3 years down the road. We fortunately received the approval for the new Memorial Middle School and Sierra Vista Combo School. That's already been approved. So now I'm looking down as to what it is that we can do to improve our next school, which is Robertson High School, that teeters right around that 100 mark. Here on the screen, I want to show a couple of things that I look at when I'm walking around with engineers, when I'm walking around with Thomas and Associates with our facilities crew. This is the exterior of Robertson High School on the backside. The road is called Freedom. This crack runs about a quarter of the way from the roof down, and you'll see the fence in that area, but there is a structural issue with Robertson High School. There's some integrity issues moving on that. This one is right outside Mr. Jaden Martinez's classroom first floor. If you look at the left side of the panel, you will see your maps. But right above the fire alarm, we call it the little strobe lightning. You'll see the crack that's again coming from the ceiling all the way down to the floor. It runs across the hallway up to the other side. And there's also some indication of structural integrity issues on the second floor. Inside of that particular classroom, you'll see that there are already panels from the ceiling that have fallen. That's something that our maintenance team has to address immediately. But you'll see that some of the ceiling structure has fallen, and then towards the back side of the wall, there's a really large crack that you'll see in that area. So to me, these are all areas of concern. This is what I look at. This is what I'm planning for.
Not to interrupt you, Superintendent, but I'm confused a little bit, and I don't disagree with what you're saying with the structural integrity of our high school. I know Ms. Boyne has mentioned to us that pretty much every building on Robertson campus has structural issues.
Correct.
But I'm just confused because this money was intended for FFA, and how does this? What does that have to do
With this, how this connects is, you want to see a couple of months ago, they brought forth a proposal for some work to be done to investigate to review your technical center. As a result of that work, we can post that next slide. Where this matters, and what matters with regards to the Career Technical Center is when the district begins to plan, for, an ask to PSFA. We need to look at what it is that the district is actually planning on doing, right? We talked about in this was the Harami, if we did, my thought was, well, we have the, Paul D. Henry lot that's vacant. That would make sense for the Career Technical Center. After working with our architects, my mind has changed. Because it really doesn't make sense to, as to how, we have our high school and then our Career Technical Center, we have a little house, but we're not a little house, but the home in between us. We have maintenance and facilities right smack in the middle of the campus. So if we were to build something at Paul D. Henry, it would be a long walk for students to get. Where this money applies in my eyes, when I'm looking at future planning, is these are some just very rough schematics, that they are looking at, they've come in with drawings, they've taken a look at, our facilities, our acreage and so on. And if you look, that makes sense, and kind of try to fund it. And have data point on the top of F number 1, the proposal, would be a 2-story high school that, includes our cafeteria, includes the library, and so on, but we see on the beginning floor, is a student area, one of the things that we don't, I guess we have to have a theater, but one of the things that we don't have is like a location for students to hang out. I think that these are just kind of preliminary drafts, like if there's a play field, that could be potentially a soccer, it's large. That play field would be in the area where the main building is at. The number 2 here at the bottom of the left is the proposal for the Career Technical Center. That was kind of what my vision was for the work. You'll see to the right hand side, that will also move the Robertson baseball field and softball field to be adjacent, so we would in essence build a sports complex. But you can see the distance, and obviously we're all kind of familiar and aware of the campus. If we're looking at Robertson Park and the students going to the Career Technical Center, they're either walking through the street, and they're going to get off the street location. We wanted to remain, so they have to walk all the way back through Martin and across to better along their time. So there is another option that they have more relevant or more conducive to our needs. And so you see the historic section that would be right for the population. It is still 2-story, still with our cafeteria and our library within that. But the number 2 of them in place in the Career Technical Center, kind of where the main campus is at right now. That makes more sense. Students have something that would be walking distance. The play field will move down to the football field, and there we have basically all of our facilities in campus. They will be coming back with a little bit of options based on what they saw, maybe some recommendations that we have, but if you scroll up further, where I envision the best use for that $600,000 would be to support the Career Technical Center. This one is estimated about 21,000 square feet. That would accommodate all of the pathways that we have established. One of the big pushes that we did with our staff this year in school, we're probably putting their hair out and making scale as part of that conversation, was when we began to build when we found PSFA they build around programs that we have in existence. So, you know, we're doing our due diligence and adding our culinary arts program to the school, that scales up. You know, having a more robust, agricultural program, we established agribusiness program, which includes now, the Cheyenne Carlisle, and, it's pretty modest, you know, there's some expansion to their science course and offering. And I'm not sure that the complete name of the class, but like animal sciences and those types of things that connect to our pathways, our programs. If you notice here, on the top of the side, and that may be where the process and five includes the agribusiness, classroom. That's right around 36,000. There's a kind of different piece. But alongside with that, the proposal is that as volleyball and then other staff members would have a shared classroom and out classroom as well. With our greenhouse and you know, areas to plant and everything that she does, and I don't know the details, but I know she does a whole lot of work. To me, you know, when PSFA builds these things, and I know we have a former superintendent here with us, they give us the money to correct the facilities, but the bells and whistles is kind of on more line, because that's when we look at the GEO bond funds. And what we need to do is provide a statement of financial position when we go to them and consult them, right, this is the funding sources that we have. So the drama that I created, was first of all, the language that we put on there. But to me, the best use of funds, you know, it would be that gift that keeps on giving. This is something that is down 20, 30, 40 years beyond my lifespan for sure. This exists long-term for students in Las Vegas for years. So I think that the investments, that I hope that the board considers would be something that goes well beyond, competition trips, that goes beyond, you know, maybe the smaller equipment and things like that. And I would promise, Red Wall to come up and talk to me specifically about what she does. But this would be my people. Nothing that I'm bringing to you guys for approval tonight. But this is, to me, this is a wise investment in our youth, in our programs, because this is, again, this is not just 2-3 years down the road, it's many years down the road. And it would be to supplement and support the agribusiness staff agricultural program that directly supports the NFA work. So
I know before we hear from Mr. Ball, thank you for being here tonight. My only reservation, this is my opinion, is if we transfer this money and we go somewhere else and we just never get the building, this money is gone, that was the intentions of this intention for to that big one. How can we secure and make sure that if that's what Mr. Ball and the board and everybody else or whoever making that decision, how do we guarantee that this money is actually going to be used for FFA?
I think that there, you know, it's sitting on an account that hasn't been touched. It's an activity account. You know, ultimately, I know it's like final purchasing requests and so on. But perhaps earmarking it, and Ms. Vanessa's not here, so I apologize for not having a clear answer for you. But perhaps establishing some sort of an account that highlights specifically that is what it within the minutes, that it's clearly stipulated that, you know, if these funds are ever moved, whether now in the future, whatever, that this is the sole intent. Because ultimately, anything, as you all know, beyond $60,000 is has to be approved by you anyway. Small purchasing, is I have that authority. So I think perhaps we sort of an account clearly earmarks, and it's away from the activity. I again apologize if there's something that the business office, this was always can work with create. My job would work, I hope construction. But we fixed asset, which then would be all of the, I know one of the dreams that Miss Roybal has is a walk-in tours, she can implement the like floral shop and everything. You know, she had asked me for some. Wish that, you know, when you look at that, I think that looks like $100,000. You know, that's nothing that we will have to be to spend the federal fund that it has to be. Next year.
What's your, oh, I got a question. Mr. Bolton, I would like to know your thoughts. What do you think the best use for this? And how, what do you think would be the best use?
Oh, thank you, Mr. Franklin and board members for allowing me to speak in the last meeting here. I do represent the students, so I want to say that I'm very glad to hear that. That's my intention, and that's my capacity. I have a lot of dreams, and me and Superintendent Sunwell and the principal talked about dreams, and I talked about it with my students forever. And if you were here 10 years ago, you could see everything that we've already done, right? So, and that's just with NMSU support and the money that we. And as you know, we are in health aid program, right? We bring in a lot of money every year just by our fundraising. And so that is what I have always said since we found out about this money, that my students will continue to fundraise. My students will continue to do what they need to do so that we can get to where we need to go with their competition for them. So that's always been the big thing with this. In our minds, we don't see that we're going to use it for travel or only the dates, right? We completely agree, and I've met with my we completely agree that it should be spent for generations to come, for hundreds of kids to have benefits from this. And this is wonderful and exciting, and I truly hope that this happens. Because you guys have walked through my classroom, right? I try to make it as cozy and nice as I can for my students, but I can only do so much. And I've currently welded top into a complete indoor weld lab, and we've gotten grants for that, and all of these different things. There's a lot of things that we're doing. I'm in a therapy class where I picked up 2 aquaponic systems on Saturday. We have a dual credit class for my horticulture class now, so it not only counts for science for students, but it counts for the dual credit for the through END. We're doing a lot, right? We do a lot, and we do a lot with what we do. And but that shop was never meant to be horticulture, right? There's no windows. I have to do everything with lights, with, you know, all of that. And we've had to be super creative, but that also teaches the kids and shows them. So a new facility would absolutely benefit the students and benefit our chapter. But I am, you know, in the beginning, we went over all the pictures of the entire campus. My picture of our room was not on there, right? So I am just afraid that if this move happens and it goes into a construction fund or any other fund without the proper provision, that it could be used for anything else. FFA is its own entity, and we are an organization, and we are chartered, and we have been chartered in Las Vegas City School since 1946, right? And that's, you know, my students, this is an activity fund that belongs with the students. And so, really, like, we are with you. We're not against it. I completely see the vision. I hope to be here for the vision. It's amazing, right? To have all of this would be just a dream, and it would be incredible. And I know that in certain ways, the board does support our position, right? I don't know very many ag teachers who teach agriculture all day long. And I get to do that, and that's my dream. But taking this money from students, from the students and the student activity account, and just moving it into any other account is just not the right thing. And so
Is there things, Mr. Bowman, is there things that you could use now if you want, that you could use some of this fund to acquire?
So 100%, right? So we talked about a floral cooler. They are like $25,000 for the walking one. There's a lot of things like that needs to be moved out and we make it. But like we want all that correct in there. But there are like a few big things that we could get. But aside from that, I want to make it clear that I think the students need to be involved in moving this. So we're not against it being moved. I think a proposal from the board would have to happen in order to bring it to the students, right? I have a well-organized chapter. We teach them parliamentary procedure, right? This is an excellent learning opportunity for them to be able to meet as a student body, and we can do it in here, right? But to be able to meet as a student body with a proposal from the board and say, you know, we're proposing that you give X1B for this, and it be for FFA. Because FFA is not frankly all of CT. We are not welding, well, we could be, right? It could be like that. But our FFA chapter as an entity is not CTE and CTE. So I think the verbiage needs to be that it stays with FFA. And if for some reason you are on the board or you're not superintendent or whatever, and someone else comes in and they try to use that money for something else, right? Then at that point, as a chapter, we can say, no, this is where it is supposed to be used. And you need to get that back.
I 100% agree with you.
So,
It needs to be for the kids. I don't know, Madam Superintendent, is there a way that we can create a committee that has like 2 board members on it and Mr. Ball and some of your officers, so that you can put stuff together to see how you can utilize that money better?
again, this is just a proposal and discussion, right? I mean,
And we're not looking at
you know, all of this is just future planning. I think it would be wise, you know, Mr. Ball, Mr. Trujillo, and I would be sat and it would be to us, our architects and all the individuals are coming down the road, and also we'll get a jurisdiction. But I think that knowing what the desire of the FFA organization has, and we can work around that. I will say that, yes, I agree with 100%, you know, the protection of those funds is important. But I do know that, you know, where that money sits right now, I'm almost certain that it wouldn't be able to be utilized for in those types of things, so it would have to be.
we're gonna be keeping where it's at, and then as Mr. Ball needs stuff, then we could do a bar transfer into the accounts, so that we could, she could send it, or buy and purchase what you need.
The superintendent, how is that different? I mean, I might spoil the first, right? So I would buy equipment, be different if it's a. So when we purchase like equipment, they're called the supply assets or fixed assets. I think there's funding codes that, you know, where it goes into inventory and those types of things. So, you know, there's like a tracking mechanism for that. So, you know, if the big cooler, for example, then we would, and don't hold me on this, but I'm almost certain that that's when we would have to move, I guess, on change, given the old units. So, I mean, it can be done by request or by the council, then, you know, it doesn't do this 600,000, but, you know, that's maybe.
Who this money belong to, and how it can be used in improvement. That's our. For it, assuming that it's legal. And by your object. Come in tomorrow and say. We're gonna let go.
think the money that, land had right now, let's move it into the building. Money that the best boys are looking at making for state championship, let's move it out. Let's move it, that, like a lot of the states talking about it. So I think the verbiage is right in there for the settlement, we need to new board members need to see that, and we need to see it, if you haven't seen it, the commission, I know what the word down here said. You know what it said and how it's to be used, but I think just moving it out of student account out. If you can't move, you can't move it out of student account. And put it.
People think it was clear that wasn't gonna. But,
Well,
I don't think it was.
I think.
I was, so. Yeah, I don't know, so it's that with the intention was for the discussion, with the vote. So,
Mr. President, Madam Superintendent, couple of questions. First off, I think, Mr. Hall, I totally agree with what you're saying. And I do agree with you that I think that the money is not utilized for a practice like this to benefit not just one group, but a lot of students together and bringing them to fruition of what everybody wants to after school, after they graduate. And I agree that the money needs to either utilize what they did earmarked for, or return back to you. You guys are the ones that do the hard work, and I can recommend you for that, because I've seen it in action, and they're top notch. They are really So my question is in reference to the PTE building stuff, from what I can see, is there room? I can't see like all the programs that are on there. But is there room for expansion of other programs if they're wanting to be later on? Would there be availability of space or? I would imagine so, you know, like I said, this is just very, very basic. You know, kind of really work some thoughts and ideas. You know, the goal that we have is, you know, to continue to expand our program. You know, this is what we have right now. So what that we look like for your time, it can be different.
We can expand into the slot stop, we're in the middle of the neighborhood.
No, but I'm talking about the CTA stuff, building. Yeah, I think the next thing is they, you know, looking at the like the central area, or even, you know, big thing now in Ethan, I mean, that's a big thing that's not available. So that's another but I think that plan there would be working that either excited about it that much to come. And I think that will benefit not just one of the students, but a lot of the students here. And it would draw people in. That's another thing.
Mr. Romano, just, can you do that? Can you do it remotely, like, even, I know I'm jumping down on probably Washington campus, but is that something that you could do? And do you guys will show animals?
So I do have Brady and Pinto currently shows, and now I've been modeling for the program that he shows over there as well.
Also, it's with county fair stuff.
County,
I get you.
it could be a possibility to have livestock like on the other land elsewhere. It would just have to be like contract the work, you know, in order to get all of that.
See, that's one thing that kind of just, now that Mr. Romero said that about livestock, I know like building the new middle school at the old middle school grounds, and we have all that irrigated land, like implementing some of that into that thing, kind of really rehabbing our middle school at the day over there, like having irrigated land, anything like stuff that is considered county. So I agree that kind of influence, that'd be awesome. So your students are part of filming animals at the county fair.
Yes, my members could go if they would like to. Right now, it's just on families, if they have a need and if they can. But FFA members can.
Well, I would say this, me personally, I support you 100%, and every county fair, I donate money to not just one individual. I do a spread, I do add-ons, every single kid that shows. So this last year I did $20,000 from two of my businesses, and every year I try to promote and put it together as a business. Last year I had an FFA charters. They brought a bus to one of my ranches, and it was two from Cary, there was a ton of a few organizations there. They went through my ranch, I took a bunch of different stuff. So you guys are more than capable of going out to the place anytime you want. Please use that money for kids, however you deem that it's necessary and it's time going. I don't know how that.
Mr. President, first of all, congratulations on your successful program last week. You know, one of the projects, of course, the Robinson High School. I've been on this board for 2 years, and in the 2 years, I have been one of the best for youth programs. So I kind of see this as I do see this is kind of all concerned when you have a help just sitting there for years and you will get the help after you do it. So we have to have student input, you know, it's very important that we get our student input on how we can best use that money to best student outcomes now and in the future. You know, it is part of something. So if you guys have the right students and athletes, we use their minds to cover all of the plan, so that this money doesn't sit in the 2 years cycle. So let us help you, but we need to hear from your students how we can make that possible.
And I was told that there was one, so I haven't used it.
For previous leadership,
So that's why, I mean, I've always been, I tell my kids, we're gonna fundraise, we're gonna do what we need to do.
and of course, I think that.
And so, but I also, you know, we are not frivolous, right? So we're not just gonna go in and do whatever we need to do. It's not 625,000 anymore, frankly, it's 614 because we used it for nationals. We teach them. And as a board, we need to know that too. I don't think students have enough. They have met my expectations of the state and their expectations. So, they do work hard and I do appreciate the support. I do know that we have, you know, one of the bench for the third state organization. And we work really hard every single day, right? So, we appreciate, and we just want to be with you, right? We, as my students, this is a huge learning opportunity for them, and they need to be involved.
And then one last thing, so I think this board is showing that we're trying to support every student, every organization. So of course, we want to be here, but we need to open up communication. So I think it's important. I think the good that's coming out of this today is we're opening up communication between yourself, our superintendent, and the principal, and this board, so we can utilize this best impact our students. So thank you for your information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Thank you.
And I'll work with Mr. Ball, people down the road and, you know, perhaps that committee, as you mentioned, we can come together and come up with some ideas on work. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, item E, 2026 draft revenue to date. This, $2,466,905.
This is actually different. I apologize, I didn't have the accurate, calculation and information when I put this together. But this first year, not mind sharing some information. I do want to say that, the sheet prepared is a super proud of my, administrative team. We began to write grants at the end of March, we made April sometime, and there's going to be about the strategy about the rating this first year, someone to waiting. And we've been fortunate to generate some additional funding for the district to support some programs. So Denise is going to put some information out there, but the total revenue that we pulled in over the last 6 months is and this is inclusive of the cost script that we just talked about a few minutes ago, is $3,264,000. $3,264,294 in the last 6 months. So what Ms. Mercer will highlight a little bit for the individual is what each of these grants do. And the amount of money that in. I've also listed the length of the grant. Some of these are military grants, we can fight for them. Some of our donors have already what they are looking for year 2 sponsorship. But I'm going to hand this over to Ms. Garcia to talk a little bit about the program. members of the board, I apologize if I go quickly, I tend to talk very fast, so please stop me. I'll start at the top of the list with our CLC grant. It is a 5-year grant, so we have 400,000 every year. Paid for a director and our coaches. We have bridges programs, literacy, graphic school program in the school. We give the support to teachers and training. We have a team right now recommending graphic more training on bigger in our standards for teaching. We have the Northern New Mexico grants, youth grants, that is a 1 year. Oh, this is for the work-based for student implementing projects. We have our team, the management team and Mr. Broader working on it. We will pay students to go in and work with different companies throughout in Las Vegas schools so they get paid for it and they get work-based experience. I do believe we are working on for our students, we can use some tutoring with our after-school program. And I spoke today about computer programming to help that with students, improve that. The course they would be getting paid for their work. Our wellness room, we have multiple high school, we have 2 individual hires, we've been working with on the restorative practices to get these into place. We have currently trained all our principals, our EA secretaries, some teachers, counselors. We're now moving into getting the actual every teacher there. School training on that. We use more of the sort of practice to grant down to 100,000. We do have the practical delay, the grants. We wrote it the day it was due. We received the $14,000 grant. This will get one of our teachers certified and trained, and it provides, I don't know the district spend on the Natamon education, I hope I'm saying that correctly. It will provide students to work with that. They will be with certification needed for that, and all of this is being paid through Project Lead the Way. Our instructor will go through a 2-week intensive training course in either Texas or California, so that we line up their 5 different areas in the biomedical field. So we are investing in our teachers, the training, and the students. And there are 2 other grants that I will be working on. Yes, talk to Superintendent Sandoval for Project Lead the Way to plan for engineering and I believe computer programming. So there are 2 projects that I'm currently working on. That is Hispanic Education Mini Grant. I did write that grant. It's a $10,000 grant to start our mariachi program at Santa Mesa. It's currently in the 4th grade. It will pay for all the materials. There will be a small stipend for the instructor, as there will be evening performances and performances at the state legislature from this mini grant we have there. So we are currently looking at ordering all the mariachi equipment because it's definitely for regular instruments. As I learned as I worked through this grant, we person Mr. Salas spoke about the DOJ grant, and we did receive the out-of-school time grant, which is 50,000 for our after-school program. We had a visit from PED today to do the walkthrough. They were very pleased. We are further along and set up in their expectations compared to many schools. With that being said, they did have some extra money that they would possibly fund to us to continue this program as well as some funding for summer school. And so they were very pleased with how that has been going out. We have 18 teachers working in the after-school program. We have about from K to 12, 150 students participating in the after-school program, and we focus on, of course, homework help, any type of tutoring. We follow up with any reading, math, science support. We have the ISL, Neuro, learning program, that we purchased the literacy program. So we're really focusing on the closing that academic gap that we're seeing with students, and we have put together some STEAM stands, they call it activities for them that have to do with magnets, drills, and Legos, and all of that to the teachers, especially at the elementary. I think that is our grant. Again, like I did in the team, we were quite a few of us that we worked on it, and I think we're putting a lot of this towards the students and building what we are expecting with our expectations in regards to academics. experience.
Thank you, that's amazing, over $3 million in grants, so that's pretty amazing. 6 months.
And if you want to see this, as superintendent said, well, it does free up money. We are able to get, working on tuition reimbursements for our teachers who need either alternative licensure or want to improve their master's and stuff. We are working with our teachers. We currently got 7 teachers who are willing to do the bilingual waivers to get that more, as the bilingual into the classroom. And teachers. We have also, we're starting to look at our math adoption, and staff with 5 publishers currently, and then making sure we're reviewing when we have a HQIM, we have the rigor and the needs that we want for what our plans are with their through high school and the CTE class. That is, I do also want to mention our IT team, they did working hard, they did have a security, I don't know exact wording for this because when it comes to IT, I can't even get my back to work. So they did through articles, I believe, partner with and the account review. We had a security score of 85%, which is pretty good. It's still not great, but by standards compared to a lot of schools or people in their program, it is a good standard. So our IT team does a great job of really doing that. Like I said, they really have challenged my gosh quite a bit. So I appreciate everything they do just to highlight some of the positive things that are happening here at this moment. I don't know if there's any other questions. Yes, it is Mr. Walking Menu. Which that if you all was watching menu, he has the great with actually in his previous school that he did, so he is the one. He was health, yeah. So this grant was received to the elementary is in here because you know we're not apply to apply the standard and go forward on that for an elementary. Sorry. We don't have anyone in the high school at the moment, so what we're looking at doing, or what I'm looking at doing is phasing it in. Part of this grant, what it does is it provides us the materials, but it also supports the tracking and the. We're hoping to scale it up and build it in. This week. They do.
And I know there's a lot of money in there.
We have, we're not touching that, you know, one of the things that we're looking at, and I know our music teachers, are concerned, a lot of the instruments that they have are very old, being held by duct tape and so on, so, you know, we're phasing those purchases in as well. So we're hoping to, you know, to add a little bit, into a little bit of time, but we hope that, you know, this is just an example of the work that our team is doing. We're trying our best to make improvements to programs. For facility.
That's pretty amazing.
I want to add something to that. Those were not all the grants we wrote more grants. Unfortunately, we do get a jumping letter. That's a piece of it, just a small piece of the pie. I wanted to advise you guys was that although we did get some rejection letters for the other grants that we wrote, we have asked for feedback from most people who advise us where we could improve. So next year, when those grants become available again, we'll increase our chances for acquiring new sponsors. So yeah, that's a small piece of the pie. Wanted to add that.
Pretty amazing.
I've started reviewing we need to work on our parent engagement policy. We are working on that to the happy, so that are the steps that we are getting all of that.
Please let the text know as part of it. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Chief. Next item on the agenda would be item F, speech RFP award letter.
Mr. Chair, we call it as Martinez, we're bringing to you a couple of RT awards that we had for speech, they have begun. When I spoke to bring it to you all to a formal approval. But these are speech therapists through our K-12 population. Ms. Martinez, if there's anything you want to add to that, but in your ratification for the. Now it's like as far as. Well, oh, so what I'm in person. She's a very good speech therapy and she services, Sierra Vista Elementary and Memorial Middle School is why I had the team. She is in person. The other lady is providing services August to May, but a portion of the year is in person and a portion of the year is virtual because she does live out of the country.
So how do we guarantee the virtual kids are actually doing? We want you, because some of these kids couldn't sit on the computer by themselves.
Yeah. And we've actually practiced it. So we have an educational assistant that will be with the students as they're reading the teacher. So that's been something that we looked at and we practiced it and it's good. And then I gave her older kids so that you know, she gets a little bit better engagement. Younger kids are a little bit more challenging. Absolutely.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't find these virtual not doing the job.
And you know, she's an amazing lady. She works hard. She goes above and beyond what she's asked to do or what she's contracted to do. She just, you know, wants to do more. It's a great little bit, but yeah. Any questions?
So,
I'm sorry, couldn't find the dollar on Mr. Rowan, but it does exceed the 60,000, so that's when we went to.
And we table this, so we get it now.
I think it's the dollar amount for Vista Verde. Vista Verde is the one who's in person August today, and we're paying for 85 a month. Flat fee. For
And then the common rate, or that's a common rate for a service.
that's actually that's affordable. The other sheriff charges we're sitting at, because she has to travel, and part of her contract included, you know, an understanding that she also has to rent a home here. Her fee for in-person is a little higher, so 110. Virtual dropped down to 90, and she is not, so her virtual rate dropped down to 90, but she does not work a full 40 hours. Her time is probably limited to virtual therapy only because she's already conducted her assessment and her evaluation. If she needs to participate in an IEP meeting or that we need her to conduct an evaluation, we can do that. But we're not paying for $90 an hour for 40 hours.
You know about that?
The other thing is 4 days a week. 4 days a week, I'm not sure off the top of my head if that equates to minus 7 hours, so what's 33 hours a week. At $85 an hour, and we don't pay travel, we don't pay, you know, anything like that. She leaves it. So she's reasonable. She's reasonable and she provides great. And
So
that.
two amounts, three amounts.
well, there's two.
I have a motion on the floor to table this item F, to the further point, do I have a second?
Also, and I apologize, if that's something I should put on the record. What Ms.
Give me 1 second. Sorry, I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Romero, and I have a second by Dr. Durr. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion Curious.
This is about the green years now.
Oh. Yeah, no, you're right.
Thank you. For clarification, so that when the last thing I did a presentation regarding the IRP, the comparable salary for the contractor versus a school employee, if you include versus a school employee, the salary and benefits, it actually equates to roughly the same value. So we're not spending the super amount of money that we had last year. It's actually going to be, great. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. Next item on the agenda is.
Madam Chair, for the updates, they celebrated the other was my week, and then they had celebration for years. A few want to meet for my Chair, or their meeting and having the parent. The consensus, and they're also wanting events. Was videos for updates, there's a started student of one celebration, and they are working on the Halloween parties. For once in weeks, they want different options for indoor recess and also added extracurriculars. Art and gaming were all the activities that they gave. As the week for one week, they're also working on and they have the lots of the science lab. I noticed that the classroom we mentioned if there is some pages. One of those update I have is the student council attended the petition conference to the New Mexico Association of Student Council. For one of the needs, they're running added Olympics and they can also come for high school credits. Vending machines with snacks, and then of course when appropriate with Spotify unbanned on computers. At Robertson High School, we also, as a student council, attended the district conference through the New Mexico Association of Student Councils. And we are planning on Halloween bash next week, which includes a club rush, going all students with clothes we offer, games, and then also a dress game. And we've also had a college burger in the past. So once the needs from the high school is we want to start an initiative to make this program. I know there's some legality there, we get that process started. And then even snack between the vending machines that adults can use and students. There's a vending machine in the office that students can use. And they have more snacks.
Gonna be a few snacks as far as our nutrition list.
Yeah, there's some like we have some of the stuff at the office vending machine kind of, but we don't have all of it. And I don't know if it's just like stuff that's not moved.
Will obviously,
For our whole, water and waste issues with our water, with all of this, I'm not sure how to use for the young students, I haven't seen myself, but some of it is just hearsay, but I can't say it's true. But I've heard about water, and we're looking at whether, for students don't bring water bottles, or they don't have enough or any money to buy water to the vending machine. And these are all students issues rather than their team and eventually for for breakfast, we have a little breakfast and sometimes we did run out the other day at high school. We were only served crab breakfast. As for things on the note, this happening a lot more than what you're doing in all of this way to go. For the elementary, I heard that the reason I was cooked correctly, but again, I'm not sure how true that is given their age and stuff. They've also complained about rats, but they're also really young, so. As a whole, I heard that the food looks unappetizing and economically scale. And I know some of these, the government interpretation down, the government and certified by the things that are primarily and I've also been involved in the academic science.
And then to do with the smart cell policy, I understand like we're trying to go healthy, eating and all that, so I'm not against that at all. I just know the elementary and middle schoolers aren't allowed to leave for lunch. And, that's really not included, so I know, like, sometimes they go all day without eating because of the dishes. And then they go to practice, they go to the clubs, their parents were placed, they're not eating until 6 in the evening. And we want to make sure they're eating right and stuff. And for all this kind of solution, I think also we tried in the past 3 years to try to get our state water bottles. But it's big hassle and it's really expensive too. So we're looking and rather than always, I actually a state organization. We have, but it's not always clean. And then with these plastic water bottles, we go recycling. Another idea is, when I was in school, I wanted to use cardboard box where you can also use cash. And it could be for more than 1 year in a sense. And then lastly, snack sale, we snacks to staff and kids. And overall, it's more than.
Great job. Lot of information. This is strong.
Email that to Ms. Patterson, so she can give us a link so we can see it.
Yeah, I just give you some of it to the sample, I just grab it.
Great job. Yes. Dr. McGee.
That was asking to be so, but I've also seen it.
And the water bottle which we're discussing, are those the first water bottle and water bottle?
Just this one's for water bottles, making also good of this. So it's not just being around, then I know that it's being around.
Thank you.
Thank you, great job. Next item on the agenda, the superintendent report.
Mr. Members, the primary report will continue to see all of the administrative reports, on that. I have for highlighting, but spending time talking about strategic plans, so I'm inviting Mr. David Chavez to speak with us for this time and, talk with us, but, before I pull him up, closing, more so, yeah, capital, projects for I am pretty much done with the preventative maintenance plan for the school year. We can have to say it annually. What has taken me a little bit longer is that the minimum amount of policy that meant to the date that's required is I'm submitting 18 to capture all of the that's necessary to have the facility and maintenance program. So that is just about done. I do that and submit it by next week. Master planning meet with Colleen Martinez for about half hour this week. She is looking at the draft November board meeting. So she is getting some final numbers and tallies up and running. The 4 through 8 projects. Get a research project. I spoke with them today. It's been just a very long process. But that is underway. Today I received notice that you received through House Bill 450, $150,000 to support facilities, maintenance, and IT security projects, and also IT career technical education. So that is out of the I'll bring that for the November. With the plans to help you utilize those funds. The elevators. Those are done, but still uncomfortable. Robertson, the issue there again is the fire. Activity to that. In speaking to, the elevator people and the fire marshal. This elevator, cannot run the, inspected through the fire marshal. Clear. The problem that we have right now is that we don't have fire marshals. So that is, deterring the use of the elevators. We were getting, continue to work with the fire marshals, we do have some. That with, elected person, we need to get rid of, the full board. This particular building and do something to get that, weird, right?
So, Madam Secretary, we're gonna have to install entire fire alarm system in this building.
And I understand.
The cost of that is gonna be. And every room, every floor. Every floor would have to have school stations, everything. And it would pop back to Parliament. And
We have, shared the,
this was back to what I have stressed about, and our facilities are absolutely dilapidated and previous boards that failed to put money back into facilities. Because now we're gonna put $300,000 into this building, and we still don't have, we just put $100,000 here, we have nothing that don't work in this building. And we still don't have an elevator that we're, mediating plans also.
it's both the SB9 and the, Geo bond. We won't even, parts, that I think the capital project work.
Yes.
They're environmentalists. So what they do is they detect a change in the environment, not necessarily this program. Okay, and so very pro-market. So I mean, there's another place that you're not gonna be, which is not on. Yeah, we would look into all those areas, any areas, so those things would be an area that would be.
More a little bit about, the next meeting.
Good evening. President Quintana, member of the board, students of the bottom, learned that, in fact, thank you for allowing this opportunity to give an update of where we are relative to the Spring City School strategic plan. In your packet, you can find some documents that are still in the back. I will send the final copies to superintendents on the bottom next week. Those are the things that I need, not that I need documents, but I need to visit superintendents on the bottom for get that finished. The first item I want to speak to is the document that you see at the top of Chief of Needs C. So the process that we follow CES when we do work with the district and planning is, first of all, we ask that we have a community meeting to identify the needs based on the input we received from the community. Then we, in that process, ask the superintendent to send a letter to individuals that you want to target and get their input from within the community. So that those letters did go out and invitations were sent. Then by virtue of it being a board work session, you also have to advertise it and anyone else will be able to join and participate in the meeting.
Once that is done, then we set a date for the community meeting, and that date was October first, when we held the community meeting, at Robertson. And we had about 36 individuals attend, and so it's a significant group of individuals that provided some great input. Part of what I like to do is the complimentary service to the district. If the superintendent is able to go into the exercise, if they soar, strength, opportunities, aspirations, and results, activity. And that is done with the leadership team of the district, the superintendent and his or her leadership team. So that is the document that you see here. And in that document, you'll see that I've listed the strengths that were identified by that leadership team. I've also listed the opportunities that were identified by the group. You'll also see the aspirations, and those that began on page 3, and then the results. On the back 2 pages, I give a summary of what was observed through the input that was offered by the leadership team. So I'll just highlight a few of those items. You have a diverse educational program, and your staff has done a remarkable job of providing some very quality programs to the students, as you'll see by looking to the report. Technology and resources, we do have an IT person, had a chance to visit with one activity, and he is very knowledgeable in their technology, and we're starting to see some of the upgrades to the technology within the district. And that was also cited as a strength within the Senate. The facility improvements, that was a factor with evening, that was also seen as an asset by the staff, and you'll also see that in the community report, it's also seen as a need by the community. Student engagement and attendance is an area seen as a growth area. There's about a 50%, I think, that was cited within the community report, but that is an area that is need work on. But there are already existing activities within what the staff is doing with regard to improving attendance in the district. So you're seeing actually very positive steps taken to get students to school. And I think at the end of the day, it really relies on relevancy, and the discussion that has been held here this evening speak to the strengthening of relevancy within the instructional program. Future goals, CTE is listed as not only strength, but an area that needs to be continued to be developed. The multi-tiered system of support is seen also as a strength, is also a continued opportunity for further development. The capstone projects that you have for high school students, and then also the ensuring that the curriculum is implemented or developed with the consultant team as an opportunity to continue growth. Data and accountability were also listed as items that the district will work on. And then community partnerships, you have a lot of strong community partnerships. That's evidenced by, I think, the part of the report we received this evening on the grants that you've been able to secure. Not only internal community partnerships within your city, but also external to your district and those partnerships that you formed there. On the last page of this report, the implementation strategies were listed as strength. There's an emphasis in fostering student independence, and I found it interesting in critical thinking. And we need to be cautious with regards to how we implement and incorporate AI effectively, so that students use thinking skills and not totally rely upon about AI and be able to operate. So I think your staff is commented in this and going to take the appropriate steps and make sure that's implemented. On the needs assessment, that's the next document that you'll see on the right hand panel. It's this document here. And I'm not going to go through the entirety of the document. The process that we follow on the evening of the community needs assessment, I think three of them were present during the community needs assessment. So you saw what the process entails. Initially, we have a brainstorming activity with those that are independent, and they just randomly identify needs for the district. You'll see in the appendices, there were a total of 74 needs that were identified. Next, I group by peer groups, so students or students, community members, etc. 6 groups that were there. They then prioritize the needs. I gave them 2 points for X number of needs, 1 point for another set of needs, and then 0 for the remainder. And that's the process that we follow. So you'll see in the appendix the peer group rankings. And then the last grouping was the stratified group. And with that group, in this report, we'll see the 5 highest ranked needs. Those can be found on the second page. For those needs were to strengthen all portions in the district regularly. Provide math reading intervention at the elementary school level, earlier interventions in social and emotional learning, improving school climate and culture, and then address staffing shortages. You'll see the ranked needs, I think there were 34 ranked needs total. By the stratified group, I believe that's the last page. Further down. Now these are the stratified. So the process I like to follow with boards is you take a look at the 5 highest ranked needs. I think if you do a comparison between what your staff did with the soil analysis and the needs that were identified by the community, you're going to find that your staff is already addressing many of the needs that were identified by the community. So when we have a work session with the board, we will look at what's already occurring within your district. We really need to develop a goal for the rest of us. And then identify where should the goals be, identify what should be addressing. You will then take the highest ranked needs and begin looking at the goals that need to be in place and begin addressing those highest ranked needs. And I like to go with 3-year plans simply because that's the way funding occurs in the state of New Mexico. You base your enrollment on the prior enrollment figures. So you have a pretty good idea what you can get this year based on last year's numbers. You have a pretty good idea of how stable your enrollment is going to be for the next 2 years. Then beyond that, it's questionable as to whether you're going to have the students that you currently have within the district. I also love the strategic planning that's driven at 1 year at a time over a 3-year period. So you would need to revisit your strategic plan annually. And the goals probably won't change, but what will change are the action plans to address those goals. So on the last page, you'll find my suggestion as to the next steps. So the board needs to schedule a work session. And at that work session, what you'll do is you'll identify the goals for the district. You'll either revisit a current vision, mission, and core values, or if you don't feel comfortable with those 3 documents, we'll need to actually go through the process of developing a vision, mission, and core values of the district. So that's a pleasure. Then along with that, I would suggest that you develop guardrails. These are what I call non-negotiables. What is it that you want and don't want? For example, we want all third graders to be reading grade level prior to exiting third grade. That would be a guardrail, and what would be on the superintendent to make sure that is occurring. So you would identify 3 to 5 guardrails as a part of the work that you do. Then I suggest that for the action plans and strategies and the key performance indicators, those that you're going to use to evaluate progress for these sort of action plans, that you allow the superintendent and her leadership team to develop those to respond to each of the goals that you will then identify. So that work will be done by the superintendent and the leadership team. We will support them in that work. And then you'll need to have another follow-up work session. That then provides you with an opportunity to provide your input on the action plans that will be developed by the superintendent and her leadership. At that point, then you either modify, change, add to some of those action plans. I'll take that work back, finalize it, and then provide it to you, the board, and the superintendent to approve. So that's the process that will be followed. I've given you some tentative dates there of November 5th, the 18th, or December 1st. If those don't work for you, give me or give superintendents on the bottom some dates that we can fund and let that first work session. And it'll take anywhere from 5 to 6 hours to go through that process that I outlined. So you'll need to schedule the workday for at least that period of time. The follow-up session won't be as extensive. That will be reporting from the superintendent and her leadership team. And then any modifications that you would then make. That follow-up meeting will take 3 to 4 hours. I'm open to questions. No, I went through that rather quickly.
So that work session, you gave us 3 tentative dates, 6 to 18, and first.
I selfishly looked at my calendar. But it doesn't have to be here my calendar. I have other staff that can actually read those discussions. So it's your convenience.
I guess we'll discuss it and see what we're best working on the center of the.
So I'm open to any questions you might have about the process that we follow up to this point, given us some great information. This will allow you to read through the reports. As I said, I will provide final reports to the superintendent on the bottom. And those will be electronic, you can send them on to you.
I think it was great. I know I ended up getting there a little late that evening, but I think it was a great exercise for everybody. The community that was there really thought it was a great exercise. And I know Mr. Gonzalez came talking to everybody as well.
Yeah, it's a great input from those. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Moore.
Comment on, you're getting the student report, and I think it's really the second or third one in the. But foods are covered, we're regular food. And then food very nice, you're not having choices, and then you step on.
Next item on the agenda is executive session. Do you have anything that needs to be addressed?
There are, okay.
Okay.
You're going to make motion, we want to hear from the executive session.
I have a motion to execute. I have a second.
Board member Mr. Darren, board member Nina Cordova, board secretary Dr. Bruce Cooper, Board Vice President Gonzalez,
Yes.
Board President Egan.
Yes. Board of Education of the Code that concerns and next one can be section 1051H7, section of ground implementation. B, the Board of Education of the Code that concerns MSA 1978, section 1051H2, set and limited personnel matters. It is. And then you will decide whether you follow up to see before we do other section, if you can break it up into a couple days, let us know. Because it's not gonna be fired about 19 days, so maybe we could do one more session. Before that, and then we'll do the session in December. No other. Business, I didn't think about the day. So, I don't know, I'm just remember a second. Yeah, I'm good. All day, signify by saying aye. Aye. 7:28.